Well, here we are for the news review, and we're joined by energy analyst Kojo Poku for this conversation. Kojo, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Ben. How are you?
Again, I'll repeat, I am well under the circumstances. God's grace
You are
suffices for us.
more than well, Ben. And I mean, the system is working. I mean, you look around you, there's glass everywhere. What is it that you can't see? You're telling me you're well under the circumstances.
Kojo Poku, I will reserve my comments. Or as someone who say, I'll comment my reserve. But
When you go, one of these days you should invite me onto your hard talk. We can do a session together.
Oh, okay. My blunt thoughts, eh? Okay, sure.
Oh, it's called blunt thoughts.
Yes, it is.
Yes, you should invite me onto your blunt thoughts, and we can do a session together. I will tell how well it's going, and you say how blunt and how hard it's going.
Okay, I'll take up that challenge. One of these days, we'll see what happens.
By the time I come out of your studio, there will be a mob outside to lynch me before I go home.
Well, good to have you, Kojo. It's been a full week. Lots of matters to reflect on. The fairy tale of the Black Stars we'll get to talk about because it's in the papers. But economically speaking, there have been a number of developments. We know, for example, that now there's the gold for oil situation. And some industry people have sounded a word of caution from the community mining scheme, from the Chamber of Mines. People have said, wait, look, this is not a bad idea. But so far, it's very gray. There are so many gray areas in terms of the implementation, in terms of what we look forward to. And if we don't get it right, it could be another good policy implemented in a bad way. That is one. Then we know about the 2023 budget and, the fallout from there, the e-levy, VAT, LEAP, and so many other aspects. And then we also have insurance premiums, third-party insurance premiums, which are set to go up shortly. What is your take on all of these? Because it appears in many ways the problem of the ordinary Ghanaian, economic problem, is only getting exacerbated. Quick takes on that before we get into the papers.
Well, yeah, I think from last week, when this story broke on the Facebook of the vice president, most of us have sounded caution, and we have said, the industry experts and then the industry players have said that, one, there is no consultation. Two, nobody can implement something like that without time and proper consultation. I don't know where the government is going with this. It's not something that you play a role. If government was the one who buys fuel for the country, okay, then we can all sit back and say, okay, he's the one that buys the fuel. If he wants to pay the people who he buys the fuel from with gold, let's wait. As long as we are concerned, we wake up in the morning, we won't fall at our pumps. But if you look at the value chain, the government doesn't play any role. There's no role that the government plays. So we are surprised how he wants to now come and dictate how the transaction in that space is done, especially when he doesn't play any role. Unless we are going to wake up one morning and we hear that there's no more deregulation and the government is now going to buy fuel for everybody like the way Nigeria does it. So look, I have spoken greatly on this. We do not have the numbers in terms of the gold reserves that we need to do this transaction. Again, we are told that we want the Bank of Ghana to keep reserves. If we want the Bank of Ghana to keep reserves, then this transaction doesn't allow the Bank of Ghana to keep any reserves, because the amount of gold you need in a year to do this transaction is about 2.3 million ounces of gold that you need in a year to do this transaction, because our petroleum bill, and let me correct this, a lot of the times people are talking about crude oil, and it's not gold for crude oil, it's gold for petroleum products, okay? And the total bill we need every month for that is about $400 million. Multiply that by 12, you have 4.8. If you use the current gold price, which is about 1,741, then you do the maths, and the total gold you need in a year is 2.3 million ounces. If you add the community gold, the small scale gold, is about 1,264,000. Sorry, 1.2 million, 1.26 million. Okay, that's the amount of gold you have from the community and small scale. Then you have about 566,000 from the large-scale mining. The 20% that the large-scale mining will give is about 566,000. You add them all up, you have about 1.8 million, which is far short of the 2.3 you need to do this transaction. So what we are saying is that you can probably start in a way where you can do it with some companies that are prepared to bring products into the country and take gold. But you have to do this side by side, the existing traditional way. It means that that thought of we are going to reduce dollar from the computation of our petroleum products, it's not possible. Because bear in mind, the gold that you are going to exchange, there's a value, there's a metric system.
Exactly.
You're going to have a value to value. So what is the scale that you're going to use to compute this amount of gold for this amount of oil? If that person brings you, let's say, 4.8 million worth of products, are you then going to say that, well, then here, this is 4.8 million worth of gold? The person might tell you, no, the gold you are giving me for me, what is the rate you are using? All those things come into play. So, yes, those are the minor issues that can be trashed out between parties. But the most important thing is that getting a buy-in into the policy. For now, we don't have a lot more. We don't have further and better particulars. So for me, I think that we should take caution, take it easy. Yes, it's an innovative idea, but like you said earlier, good ideas are normally implemented badly in Ghana. If you look at the third-party insurance, I think that it's about time that third-party insurance go up. If you look at the claims coming out of third-party these days, and you look at how much third-party insurance for cars are charged, then the insurance company are at a loss. Because now what is happening is that we are beginning to have class action in the industry, where if a trotro has a third party and the trotro is in an accident, what you are now seeing is that lawyers are going around mobilizing the passengers in the trotro and claiming for doing a class action for a third-party claim on the insurance company. And under the law, the insurance company has to pay those third parties for their losses and injuries. So it's about time that third-party insurance go up because it's too low. And the claim that comes after when you have third parties is quite high. So it's in the right direction that third-party insurance should go up.
Well, then you look at actually, just before you go to the third issue, they are, the issues they put up were inflation and the cost of spare parts. Those were the major issues that they were putting forth.
Put up by the insurance company or the people?
By the insurance companies. I mean, this is part of what we've seen.
Why insurance company are citing spare parts and inflation for third-party claims? I mean, where do they come in with third-party and insurance and inflation? Because if you underwrite an insurance policy for third-party and the person gets into an accident, yes, you are going to, the way insurance is calculated per the value of the time when they don't give you the value of the insurance that you did. So let's say you have a car worth 200,000 and you do a third-party insurance. If by the time that you get into an accident, they're not going to calculate the insurance on 200,000. They calculate the insurance on the value of that car on the day
at that moment
of the accident. Yes. Okay. So then they now look at the cost involved in the accident and pay. But for me, I think their concern would have been one, the rate of claim, and now the class actions that are coming after third parties. That for me, I think will be the biggest concern for the insurance companies, not spare parts and inflation.
Well, let's proceed with the papers now. And we'll start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Kudos to Kudus. I love the way the Daily Graphic puts it. Kudos to Kudus.
They copied it from me. I did this last night. They have copied it from me. These people are copycats.
They copied from you.
Yes, because I can actually show you my posting last night. We said the KMP family is giving kudos to the Black Star. Now they have copied me.
But he said kudos to the Black Stars, and they are saying kudos to Kudus.
Yeah, but kudos, I came up with that kudos thing. You know what I mean? Okay. Kudus. You know, Ben, I told you I'm a rapper. That's my rhyme.
Can we do something with that? Can we do something else with that? One of these days, I'm going to put you on the spot, so you do something for us on air. And if it's good enough, maybe unlike Nasty C, will arrange a collabo for you with Sarkodie. We just might do something. But anyway,
Wow.
so Ghana
You could
upset
do
South
that?
Korea and Uruguay is next. Just, I'll be picking your quick thoughts on that, but right before that, Mohamed Kudus proved yesterday that he was the man for the big occasions, scoring twice as Ghana's Black Stars survived a second half scare to steal a deserved 3-2 victory over South Korea in the Group H clash at the Education City Stadium. It was a pulsating match, a tale of two halves as the Koreans fought back from a 2-goal deficit to cancel first half goals by Mohamed Salisu and Kudus and pounded Ghana's goal area with incessant attacks that brought out the best from goalkeeper Lawrence Atizigi and some strong defending by the Ghanaians. However, it took another great strike by the gifted midfielder in the 68th minute to restore the lead with the winning goal. Now, yesterday, I'm sure most people found out that 10 minutes can be as long as eternity. I was sitting there behind the television, the idiot box, and I was actually, my heart was in my mouth. I was sitting on tenterhooks. And those 10 additional minutes after, normal time had been exhausted, were just, it was actually 10 minutes and 40 something seconds. And the referee did not allow the South Koreans to take a last corner. After all, it was over 10 minutes and all of that. But what do you make of the performance of our stars yesterday? And what ratings, I'm interested, would you give Mohamed Kudus, Jordan Ayew, Atizigi, our goalkeeper? How would you rate
10,
them?
10.
10 each.
Look, 10
Right.
each. Let me tell you something. When I saw the Ayew brothers on the pitch, I'm like, oh my God. Okay? My first reaction, I'll be honest with you, was, oh my God. Because you see, I honestly believe that the Ayew brothers have given a lot to Black Star. But some performances when the two of them have been on have not been so good. And we tend to now blame them for a lot of the things that go wrong in the Black Star. If you watch the match in Kumasi when we played the Super Eagles, everybody was chanting, change Ayew, change Jordan, change Ayew, So for me, I thought that, look, they are at the apex of their game. Really, this probably be their last World Cup. But we should bring them in at a time when they don't get too much blame for what goes wrong in the Black Star, because they might end their career being known for all the bad things they do, forgetting all the good things that they did and Jordan has done for the Black Star. So for me, the first thing I said is that, oh my God. But the way the crosses now
that is basically not having one of them, but both of them on at the same time. That's what you're referring
to.
Right.
Exactly. So for me, that was like, but when I saw, look, they did now have started playing this holding midfield thing where he managed to get himself into the attacking midfield area, and as if he's trying to be a box-to-box player at his old age, which is a good thing. Then Ayew is now this winger who his crosses can never go wrong. And yesterday, everything just came together beautifully, okay? Kudos for me, I have only one word. I saw on social media the ladies in Ghana trying to start posting him and saying, wouldn't you wish your boyfriend is Kudus? Look, you guys stay away from our star player. We know what you guys do to these guys when they start doing well. We have names that we can mention that went wrong after they did well, and our ladies started.
Please, let's not mention any of them.
I'm not. But let me now make the point. So the point is that, look, it was a beautiful game, especially the roller coaster, okay? It has everything in one game where you go ahead, you jubilate, you silence your opponent, they come back, they silence you, then everybody is in tenterhooks, then we come back. Then the 10 minutes was like, if you love football like we do and we watch the Premiership, even 3 minutes extra time is a problem. Now 10 minutes. And the Koreans found out that we were not too good in the air. So every ball they get, they will lob it in the air into the 18-yard box. And they felt like, let's now see who can jump better. But we dealt with it. We came out with a win. Now the revenge is on. Uruguay, let's bring it on and let's hope that we do much, much, much better against them. I'm just hoping that the coach will get a selection right. We have the men. The boys are brilliant. I think we have now assembled one of the best Black Star teams after the Asian Sule Apia era. I think we've now gotten another set of guys that are very good. Let's see what the coach will do against Uruguay, and let's put a strategy in place to basically beat them. It would be lovely to be in the next the knockout stages.
Now, there is also a danger that we ought to carefully look at because the Uruguayans, they say a man who is down fears nothing. He's already down. Um, they are down there with South Korea. I think they are the bottom side in Group H. And of course, they drew with the Koreans and they lost, they suffered another thumping to Portugal by 2-0. So it would mean for them that they would not just be trying to qualify, it would also be a matter of pride for them. Because where they are, if, and God willing they don't, if they beat us, they also come on 4 points. And you realize that the South Koreans, if they down Portugal, could also come on 4 points. So it's very tricky for us. We would have to win to avenge our defeat.
Very tricky. It's a tricky group now. Look. They can be wounded. They can have all the ambitions, whatever. We have more axe to grind than they do. Going back to South Africa and what they did to us, okay? I think the Black Stars are going to do a lot. They have a lot of motivation. If you look at who has the best motivation, I think it's the Black Stars. I'm just praying that everything goes right because we've gotten to realize that it's not about how well you play. It's about everything also coming together for you in football. In Portugal, we played very well, but in the last minute, we realized that certain things did not go well for us with the VAR and all these things. Yesterday, look, when God is on your side, everything works well. The VAR went in our favor. Everything went well. The boys played brilliantly. I'm hoping that they give their all. Then we don't get any injuries in training. They come on the park, and then the referees and the VAR also go on our side. Those are some of the things that has to come together for you to win a football match.
Well, there we have it. Let's move on to other stories. There are those who said that before Salisu played the ball, it had hit Ayu's hand. But we know in football as well, there was nothing he could do. It was a ball-to-hand situation. And then the ball was netted.
Let me explain that to you. It's not really about ball to hand anymore. It's about your hand being in a natural position.
Well, so that as well. That as well. It was not in a
to hand. It can be a ball to hand, but if the hand is in an unnatural position,
Kojo, it's basically the same thing being said in a different way.
No, but if you say ball to hand is the old parlance we used to use, where you say ball to hand, where you did not move your hand towards the ball. But if your hand is in an unnatural position, yesterday there was a penalty for Portugal. When the guy was falling, and as a result of falling, the ball hit his hand. It was a penalty. So that one was not a ball to hand, but is on the hand in an unnatural position. So if you interpret the rule that way, it's easier.
But in one, we see the hand changing the course of the ball. But we can dilate on these. We'll leave the sporting people to do that. But the point is that it was viewed by VAR, and my heart was in my mouth. But thankfully, we got the goal, because if we hadn't, that could have proved. You know, in the first 15 minutes or so, I practically had to just be watching, peeping, watching, squinting, watching, because the pressure on us, it was just absurd. But anyway, we got the win, that famous win, and we're back on track. And for those who don't know, in the World Cup, we've never lost our second match, and we lived up to that billing. Debate on 2023 budget begins today, and pictured there, Oseiche Mensah Bonsu, majority leader, and Haruna Idrisu, the minority leader. There's also growing the economy, focus on tax enforcement, agro-industry, experts advise, and then Graphic Grader host biggest housing fair Thursday. For you, what are your crucial takeaways from the 2023 budget? Very quickly. I don't want to go into the story because it just brings back all of what we already know. But when people complain about the VAT rate, when they complain that while you're taking away the minimum threshold for the e-levy, you are slapping on, while you're reducing the percentage, you're slapping on this bit about taking away the threshold, which would not inure to the benefit of the poor. What do you think? And growing our economy, focusing on tax enforcement and the agro industry, is that the way to go? Your quick thoughts.
Well, yes. Growing the tax net has always been the mantra. We need to grow the tax net. For me, I didn't see the 2.5% increase in VAT coming. I thought in the situation that we find ourselves, a tax increase would have been another squeezing water out of the rock situation for us in the country. But look, the good thing, me and you discussed this about the 1%, the e-levy coming from the 1.5 to 1%. I don't know why people just don't listen. Okay, the finance minister, for me, just took a very difficult stance in the initial implementation of the e-levy, and finally did a U-turn and came to the 1% that we all advise that he does. I think we've done 9 months of disservice to Ghanaians, but hey, better late than never. It's a good thing that it's 1%, and yes, the threshold didn't really make sense. But there is some loopholes in the e-levy, the way the merchants and everybody calculates this e-levy. I think in the coming months, the government should sit down and take a hard look at the system and be able to now collect the 1% better. I don't think that it is being implemented by the merchants and all the people that use the e-levy well. When you now send the money, you know, the telcos have the technology in place to be able to collect their 1%. We need to have technology in place to be able to collect our 1%. What I have always suggested is that we need to have a platform, a universal platform on which all the telcos and mobile money, all the e-transact, every electronic transfer will sit. Nobody is listening. But again, in the long run, we'll come to that. If you have that, then you can sit back and let that platform dictate every money that is for you, and then you take it from that platform. Now we are relying on the telcos technology to calculate and give us our money. For me, I think that doesn't work well because they will look after their money, they will look after your money. So the government needs to invest in a platform on which all electronic transfers, mobile money, everything sits. Then from there, you can basically deduct what is yours and what is not. In terms of the taxes to grow agro, look, let me say this, and me and you discussed the Ministry of Trade issue the other time, and everybody is taking aim at me that, hey, I mean, you don't understand, and Trade Ministry, what have they done? When agriculture is only responsible for technology in growing products and the whole community in the farm. When the produce are grown and gets to the farm gate, from that point, it's trade. Because it's no longer an agric matter. We are always making it look like Ministry of Trade is only into industries and stuff like that. It's not true. That is why it's called Ministry of Trade and Industry. Okay, so there is the industry added to Ministry of Trade, but trade in its own is the multifaceted sector. If in the energy sector, refinery, if thermal oil refinery refines crude oil and they get the kerosene, petrol, and diesel, when the product is leaving the refinery, it is trade.
Right.
So almost everything from when you exit the technology, the rest is trade. Okay, so if we want to grow this economy, I have always said that the two most important ministry is finance and trade.
Okay.
But people are coming at me trying to make it look like, oh, why are you talking about Ministry of Trade as if you have an agenda? I don't have an agenda. My only agenda is to say the truth.
All right.
Ministry of Trade is becoming very ineffective.
Okay. In other stories, of course, I don't know whether you saw that Vincent Abubakar chip that some have said is the goal of the tournament, though some say Richarlison's goal, the Brazilian in their first match, the side Caesar kick, if you like, is the one with the icing on the cake. Did you see that goal by Vincent Abubakar, the Cameroonian player?
No, I did not.
Okay, you should check it out then. But I'm going to lump together about 3 stories from different papers for you to react to. The first one, excesses of democracy. Must Council of State be scrapped? Here's the interesting bit. This is an opinion shared by Kobi Asma. Recently, we heard former President Kufuor say that we should have a second chamber and attach the Council of State. Yesterday, I had Nana Dr. SKB Asante here with me. He's launching his book today. And I asked him, he actually said that some of what they put together, as he headed that expert committee on our 1992 Constitution in 1991, was the proposition, some of these propositions about a second chamber and all of that. And he, in some way, agrees with former President Kufuor. What is your take on that? Just hold. Let me add these 2 stories. The Ghanaian Times newspaper. Support government to revive economy. Mahama urges Ghanaians. And that story is on page 7. He has called on Ghanaians to join hands in the government's effort to put the economy back on track. This, he said, was the only way the country's economy could be saved from the imminent collapse staring at it. And I noticed today, the Ghanaian Times, I don't know about the editing, but imminent is rendered as eminent, and staring is with a double R. So the team editing the Ghanaian Times newspaper, please look at that. There's also reject portion of budget inimical to workers' welfare. That's according to the TUC. The story is on page 17. Let me just give you some scope to that. Now, members of the Trades Union Congress have called on the leadership of the organization to reject portions of government's 2023 budget statement, which they described as being inimical to the welfare of workers. They cited the freeze on employment in the public and civil services, removal of the threshold on e-levy transactions, tax waivers for businesses in agricultural imports, increase of VAT by 2.5%, among others. Quick reactions to these stories.
Well, yeah, the TUC will always come out and try to fight for their interests, but what they should realize is that there's only a small pot that everything can come out of. We should do burden sharing when it comes to these instances. The unfortunate part is that when the TUC, in certain instances, tell the politicians that they should watch what they are doing because we should all do burden sharing, the politicians don't listen. But now it is time that they will tell TUC to let's help and do burden sharing. But I think this is not the time for TUC to be making demands. This is not the time for TUC to basically coming out and oppose certain things. We need to get the economy back on its feet, and in good times, we can all share the spoils that come up. For me, the second chamber, we live in a country where there are excesses. Everybody is complaining about the executive arm and then the parliamentary arm of government having excesses, and they are not doing what they are sent there to do. For me, if we think that the Council of State is not needed, creating a second chamber would go to infuriate Ghanaians even more, because I don't know what that second chamber is going to do. In the UK, where they have that system, for me, it doesn't even, it's just a historical something they have. So they are stuck with it historically. But if we want to deepen democracy in Ghana, creating a second chamber now in Ghana will not deepen our democracy. What are they going to object to? And what are they going to... So look, I think that we tend to look at certain things. The kind of people that we appoint to the Council of State, the role that they have, and the remuneration that comes with the Council of State. If we think that these things are not working well, let's reform it. Okay. Let's look at the kind of people that goes to the Council of State. Let's look at stripping some of the remuneration if we think that is excessive. Okay. And then let's try and look at the role they play. If we are going to deepen their role in terms of being, or maybe we could go on to say that there can be the number of the elected position in the Council of State is increased as opposed to the appointed. Right. Okay. Because as it stands now, we do elect people to the Council of State. So for me, creating a second chamber is only going to infuriate Ghanaians. Looking at the deep-seated dissatisfaction of Ghanaians towards the way Parliament works and other executive arm of government. Okay. Let's wrap with a few stories. I'll let you know which ones I want you to dilate on. The Daily Dispatch says use of gold is specifically for oil imports. Ghana will save the $3 billion it spends on oil imports. That's according to Vice President Bawumia. It also says WAEC on averting exam leakages. You can check out the story from the Daily Dispatch. National carrier to be called Ghana Airlines. And that's the story in the graphic business. But now I want you to react to this one. Debt restructuring. Eurobond holders face 30% cut. T-bill investors exempt. That's the first one. Then Economy Times, 93 billion Ghana cedis added to public debt due to cedi depreciation. And the Daily Guide, I found this interesting. Expect economic recovery soon. That's according to Vice President Bawumia. You have less than a minute to react to those and we're gone. I don't know how they're going to do the Eurobond 30% haircut for Eurobond holders. I don't look. Sometimes we say certain things in this country. You have to go and negotiate. We are talking about private investors. You are going to go to the Euro market and tell the Eurobond investors, those holding your coupon, that you're going to give them a 30% haircut. Good luck to them in that negotiation. I don't know how that's going to pan out, but look, It's not something you can enforce. They have to look mercifully on you and say if they will do it or not. So it's not something that you can ask, you can request and beg for them to do for you, because private investors, it's not like Ghana where we are now being told certain things that's going on in the investment. In the Eurobond, it will dent your credibility and it will basically go against you in future market roadshows.
Right.
If you look at the Ghana, I don't know why somebody wants to still do a national carrier. Really and truly, I don't think we learn from history. Why are we still trying to do a national carrier in Ghana? Every country that has done it has run into problems. We can go down the list and we will find out which has now existed. So South Africa, they should go and ask South African airline the problems that they are having. So honestly, I think we should stop this fantasy thing there. We still want to have a national carrier. It's not going to help us. It's going to run the country into further debt, as it has done in almost all the countries that have national carriers.
Okay.
What was the last one?
So 93 billion added to our public debt owing to the depreciation of the Ghana cedi. Just a few words on that.
We've always said that if you don't man the economy well and you depreciate your currency, it goes both ways. You basically add onto your debt because now you need more cedis to be able to go and pay on the interest that you owe in the foreign land. So we need to make sure that we do prudent policies that will sustain the economy, save money, stop the borrowing, improve on other sectors to improve on your revenues that you mobilize. And then we look at local solutions. We've been talking and not doing the do-dos.
Well, thank you, Kojo, for joining us for this conversation. Always insightful. I wish you the best of the day, sir.
Thank you, sir. How are you, Ben? And have a lovely day.
All right. Thank you so much, Kojo Poku. And that's how we wrap the news review. But coming up, we have a lot coming your way in sports. You should have seen the celebration, the jubilation, and the ecstasy, basically, in Qatar and here in Ghana as the Black Stars dispatched the South Koreans yesterday. I've seen some images of Son Heung-min weeping and all of that. I don't know how real they are, but you can understand him. We feel for him. But Charlie, we needed that win. We thank God for that. More in sports coming up right now on the AM show. Do stay.